Now, that's a pretty significant loss. Dan Graziano, what could you tell us?
Well, they anticipated it. Look, I think Corey Linsley was going to hit the agency, was going to cash in big. The Packers are in a situation where they don't have a ton of cap room to make big additions, but they anticipated they would lose Linsley. They certainly have a plan in place for replacing him. There's a lot of free agent center inventory on the market, and I don't think this is a gigantic point of concern for Green Bay. I think they'll obviously fill the position. I think the bigger issue on their offensive line is how soon they'll be able to get left tackle David Bakhtiari back from the injury he suffered late last season. They may need to find somebody to patch that spot in the short term.
So the Packers may have seen this coming, but you always wonder about Aaron Rodgers' mindset with all this. Again, Louis Riddick, we keep talking about who are they going to add. Now they lose a pretty important piece. How do you see it?
Yeah, I see it a little bit differently than Dan. Look, I think, again, the signal caller positions on a football team right down the middle of the roster are critical. They're absolutely critical. Quarterback, center, Mike linebacker, safety. These guys are the front-facing guys. They're the guys who talk and set the tone for everyone else in the huddle and then before the ball is snapped. And Corey Linsley is the guy who is setting the protections up front. Now, I understand that Aaron Rodgers is someone who can help mitigate some of that, but that is a critical position. I mean, center, middle linebacker, these guys who are the talkers, who are the communicators, that's how you get your quarterback sacked because of protection bust and or communication bust. On the defensive side, that's how you give up big plays because people aren't on the same page because the guys who are the signal callers make mistakes. I don't think that's one of those where you just go, well, you know what, we'll just bring in another center, plug him in, and off, and away we go. I think it's much more intensive than that. It's much more critical than that. I understand that left tackle and David Bakhtiari's health is huge for them because that's the Audubon for the offensive line. That's where the speed demons are coming to try and wreck shop for as far as your quarterback is concerned. But if you don't know what you're doing and your center isn't on the same page as everyone else, then everything just kind of falls apart from there. So it'll be interesting to see how they wind up handling this. But it's one of those deals. I mean, there's a reason why the Chargers wanted him. There's a reason why they wanted him out there to help Justin Herbert. And that's because he's the rock. He's the centerpiece. Whenever we get Jeff Saturday back on here, whenever he comes out of, hiding whether he is down there in Georgia, ask him how important centers are. I'm sure he'll tell you. I'm sure he could go on for hours about it.
Whether we want him to or not. Yes, I agree with you on that. But Torrey,
Exactly.
Let me come over to you then on that situation here because, the team that beat them is Tampa Bay, and all we're talking about is how they're bringing everybody back, and we got guys up here talking about them going unbeaten, and I'm Aaron Rodgers, and I'm watching this, and I'm saying, what the heck is going on with me? How do you see it all, Torrey Smith?
I mean, Lewis is right. The center is the quarterback of the offensive line, but the reality of it is it's a lot easier to replace someone on the interior offensive line than it is to replace your tackles on the outside. You see all of these DNs making all of this money? The big guys on the outside are the guys that have to block them. However, for this team, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, you knew that you can't keep everyone. That's the price of being great. When you're a team that's winning and your salary cap looks a certain way, sometimes you can't retain everyone. And clearly they knew he was going to walk. I believe that they have a plan or they trust that there's a guy that they can get in free agency moving forward. But for Aaron Rodgers' perspective, you can't count on keeping everyone each and every year. And they didn't lose in the NFC Championship game because of protection on the interior side of the ball. There were more issues going on. So this is something that they should be able to overcome.
I get it, but at the same time, I mean, look, we talk about how you're going to lose players because you were great, and they've been very good, but this is sort of the Packers' way. They keep not winning it all and then losing players. Dan, I know we have this argument all the time here. I get that they've won 26 regular season games the last 2 years, but they haven't been in the game that really matters, and now they're losing pieces because you can't keep a championship team together. The only thing they're missing is the championship in that equation.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you just can't add a piece and instantly get a championship, right? I mean, the Packers have played in more postseason games and won more postseason games than anybody but the Patriots this century. Like, it's the best you can do is give yourself a chance. I think Tom Brady has kind of wrecked it for the rest of the world, assuming that the only way it's a success is if you win a championship. Packers are a team that constantly puts themselves in that position, and yes, has come through just the one time during Aaron Rodgers' career. But look, I mean, Aaron Rodgers and Corey Linsley are certainly close, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers knew that Corey Linsley was going to go find money in free agency and that the Packers probably weren't going to be the team that gave it to him. This is not some out-of-the-blue shocker for Aaron Rodgers or the Packers.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.